Brecker mastered articulation. There's a full university study in just this line. In the newly released book containing all Michael Brecker's practice notes, Michael Brecker has noted a little side mark on one of the pages. Practice time in fingers, no tonguing. Why he say this is totally mind-blowing and has everything to do with your articulation. I'll come back to this in a bit. Articulation is so very important and adds so much detail to your playing. Articulation must be your #1 core skill to master when you're playing a wind instrument. Unfortunately, I hear so many players out there play with a sloppy articulation. If you move your tongue lazily, you get a lazy articulation, a lazy timing, and a lazy tone. In this video, I'm going to run through how you can articulate, how you can practice this, and how you can apply this to your jazz lines. We start by how articulation works. If you doubt just a little bit on the basic articulation, you should really start here and get this thing going. It's so important. All articulations start with breathing and long notes. One of the things I see when people have problems articulating is that they don't breathe enough through the horn. They don't keep pushing the air through the horn when they are articulating. No matter if we play a scale or if we play long notes, the breathing should be completely the same, constant pressure of the abdomen and a strong airflow. Let's start with just articulating one note. This is the basic articulation, and if you have this, you have them all. Step 1. Put your tongue in the reed and keep it there no matter what happens on step 2. Blow air out like you're normally playing the saxophone, but you will have no sound because your tongue is blocking the air. Keep pushing the air. Keep blowing, remove your tongue, and now there should be sound. This is the basics of all articulation. The tongue makes the sound stop. When you remove the tongue, the air is released and there should be sound. If you're new and have trouble articulating, you should do this exercise in super slow motion. Do the previous list of actions on that one note, but continuously. Keep repeating the 3 steps, but with one little twist. Keep blowing the air out. Never stop blowing the air out. So put your tongue in the reed. Start blowing, no sound. Remove your tongue from the reed. Sound comes. Put your tongue in the reed, but keep blowing air. Remove your tongue from the reed, then there's sound. That is articulation. When you want to speed up the articulation, the process is the same. Put your tongue in the reed, start pushing air out, remove the tongue, keep pushing air out, put on the tongue, keep pushing air out, remove the tongue, back and forth. The tongue is doing all the work while you're pushing air out. Then speed up the frequency of moving your tongue. What we're really training is moving the tongue back and forth while keep blowing air out of the horn. It's really simple. And the sound you're aiming for is reducing the time your tongue is on the reed, that the stop in the sound becomes as minimal as possible. When Michael Brecker is playing some of the slower tunes, in the lines he's playing, he's articulating all the tones. And I know this line might be fast, but for Michael Brecker this is very slow. The basic articulation you need for this is staccato. So let's do the staccato articulation. It's always easier to start simple, so let's begin with one note. Same rules apply. Tongue on, breathe, keep breathing, tongue on and off. Add the metronome to it, put it on 2 and 4 and it resembles a jazz feeling. When you feel comfortable on this, double the notes. Playing 8 notes. Of course, with the metronome, slowly start to increase the tempo. Use both the exercise, switching between the quarter notes and the 8 notes. This adds to your timing skills and trains the flexibility of your tongue. When you have done this on one note, add it to the scale. Play the scale up and down and play staccato in the scale. Again, play it slow to faster. What Michael Brecker said about practicing without tonguing. When we move our fingers together with the articulation, we need the fingers to be tight, and that's actually the fingers that are deciding the timing. Tonguing is adding an edge on top of that. If our fingers have sloppy timing, the articulation definitely doesn't help. Then the overall timing is sloppy. You really need to train your fingers to get great articulation. You need tight fingers, have them like small drumsticks. Try hitting your saxophone with a lot of power when you're playing it. But don't overdo it, don't strain your fingers that you cannot move fast enough. When playing jazz, we need to train jazz articulation. The basic jazz articulation is when you add an accent on every second note in an 8-note line. And here the training without the articulation becomes so obvious. Please Please train everything without the articulation to get the fingers right, and then add the articulation. When training the fingers first, then adding the articulation part becomes so much easier. I recommend you to download the lesson manual from Patreon, where I have added all these exercises. Check out this earlier video I've made, a deep dive into explaining different forms of articulation and how to apply this to your music. Play music, have fun.